All right. Ezekiel Butterthighs here. It is August 1st. 10 a.m. 10 a.m. Let's get it going. Let's get it going. Go Buffalo Bill. Go Buffalo Bill. Go doggy. What's that doggy's name? Feathers. Fluffers. Oh yeah, that's how we get it started. That's how we get it started. All right. I have to update my totals here. Give me a second. All right. Get that going. Get that going. Get that going. We're doing pretty good today. Doing pretty good this morning. Can't complain, that's for sure. Up quite a bit. Let's see. Boop. And boop. Okay, there we go. All right, so there's our totals. We're up 3,000 this morning. Bankroll's up to 17,000. What's my position right now? Let's see. We've got 5 calls of NVDA. Expiring on August 16th, so we've got a little over 2 weeks on those. I had begun the day with 24 calls in NVIDIA. Yeah, I had 24 calls to end the day, but my original out when I entered the trade was 120 on NVIDIA, and we hit it this morning. And you got to stick with your plans here. You got to stick with your plans. Can't go rogue. All right. One of the most important things in trading is having your outs and sticking to them. 120 has looked like a level for a while. This is the NVIDIA chart. So we touched 120 this morning. This is the intraday chart. This is just the action this morning. When we touched 120 up here, I exited the bulk of the position. All right, I had 24 calls. I'm down to 5, so I exited what, 80% of the position when we hit 120. I am holding 5 calls because I still like NVIDIA, honestly. I still like it quite a bit. I mean, it was just down so much. It was down so much. I mean, let's see. This is the 6-month chart. It was out 140. It went down and it actually touched 100, almost perfectly touched 100. What a beautiful bottom that was a couple days ago. Let's look at that again. Look at this bottom. Oh my God. Does it get any prettier than that? I mean, look at that. That was a bottom on the 30th. So that was, what, 3 days ago, Monday, Tuesday, something like that. Yeah, look at that bottom. Wow. 100.01. And since then, it has just gone up, right? It hit this 121 mark overnight. Can't trade options overnight, so I couldn't get out there. The earliest I could get out was this morning, and we hit 120 this morning, and I did. I exited the vast majority of the position. But yes, I am still holding on to some, which is why you're still getting some action in my price totals here. Yeah, I was up, what, 3,300. Now I'm only up 3,000. NVIDIA's at 119. Yeah, so, you know, it's, I'm holding this position for a little bit. I feel good about this position. I really do. Yeah, I think we're... I do. I still believe. Problem is, well, first off, I was in for like 1500 delta, which was a very aggressive position. So, look, if you're going to be super aggressive, you got to take your wins, you know? So I scaled it back. Now I'm down to 300 delta. 300 delta in a $100 stock is not super aggressive. I mean, it's not nothing, but it's not super aggressive. I can hold this 300 position. I can hold it for a while. I mean, if we lose 5 points, I'll lose 1,500, which would suck. In fact, now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, well, maybe this position is a little too big. I'd like to be able to hold through a down move. I think NVIDIA is heading higher. It's just a matter of timing, you know? We had this big jump from 100 all the way up to 120. 120 is this is the 6-month chart, by the way. 120 is a level of some significance from the chart. As you can see, this is 120. It's been a floor, so now it's a ceiling. So do I think we might bounce off of it and head lower here? Yeah, I think it's a distinct possibility. And where would we go? We could go down to 110. I mean, that much is clear. 110 is the next big level besides 120. Was 115 a level? Yeah, 115 was a level, I guess, a little bit. I mean, over here, it showed a little bit of a level action. This was back before the 10-to-1 split, so this was 1,150. A little bit of a level. I mean, can I hold all the way down to 110? That'd be 10 points at a 300 delta is 3,000. No, I don't think I can take that kind of loss on it, honestly. So what is my exit here? My downside exit. My upside exit is it expires in 2 weeks. I mean, I'd love to get back to 140 within the next 2 weeks. Is that possible? Yeah, I think it is possible. I definitely think it's possible. 2 weeks to go, get to 140. I definitely think that's possible. So, can I hold all the way down to 110 here? Because that's what I need. I need to be able to hold down to 110, and honestly, even a touch lower. Because I can't, I mean, it's not a hard 110. I'd have to be able to hold down to, say, oof, yuck. I mean, if it bursts through, I'd have to be able to hold down to like 105. Ugh. Now, if I'm holding to 105, that's 15 points, and my upside is 20 points. That's not a great risk-reward. Yuck. Am I positioning myself to lose here? Now, this is what you have to do, folks. You have to think ahead in terms of your outs. All right? So I've got a position here. I've got 5 calls, 300 delta. My target on the upside is 140. That's 20 points. Do I think we can get there within the next 2 weeks, which is how long my options last? Yeah, definitely do. I think it's probable, honestly. I think it's more likely than not. The only question is, what is my my downside range that I can accept before I'm forced out of the position? I call it the PBR, right? The PBR, the pullback range. pullback range is how much of a pullback you can stand before you're forced out of an options position. My pullback range here has to be pretty big. And the pullback range is basically dictates your risk reward. All right. The top number is your upside exit, which is your goal. You know, what's your price goal for a winning trade? In this case, the bulk of it was 120, but now I'm holding on to a small piece, only 5 more calls, which I want to hold to 140. So, yeah. So my upside is 20 points. My pullback range is down to 110, which is kind of ugly. Kind of ugly, if I'm being honest. And you got to give it a little more than that. I mean, when would I be forced out of the position? Earnestly, at like 106. Which gives me a risk reward of like 20 points over like 14 points. It's not great. It's not a great risk reward. I mean, but on the other hand, I do think it's probable that I succeed on this trade. I think it's probable that NVIDIA hits 140 within the next 2 weeks. But am I going to be forced out of the position before then? If I'm going to be forced out of it, sometimes if your position is small enough, you can get in and just say, you know what, I'm going to hold this position no matter what the hell happens. All right. That's a good place to be in sometimes. I mean, I'm sort of setting myself up for that kind of position here. Can I hold this no matter what the hell happens? I don't know. I don't know. I mean, it's big. It's 5 calls, but it's $3,000. Do I really want to lose $3,000 on this trade? How much would I win? How much would I win? I mean, my downside is 3,000. 300 delta position, 20 points. I'd win 6,000. Well, you know what? That's one of the beauty of options. One of the rare good things about options, buying options at least, is gamma. Gamma, all right? Which means when an option that you've bought moves against you, you begin to lose less and less money. When it moves with you, you begin to gain more and more money. So my downside here is, you know, I'm looking at it in terms of my upside is 20 points. My downside is, 12, 13 points. But the truth is, the position itself, the 5 calls, is only worth about $3,000 right now. And if we gain 20 points on it, I'll win, $6,000, maybe a little more. So I am getting that 2-to-1. That is sort of the gold standard of risk reward, right? I'm getting a 2-to-1. And you know what? It makes for good streaming also, having an open position, which shouldn't play into my decision making, but it does a little bit. So I do want to have an open position so that I have something to stream. I'm not just sitting here on my hands. And plus, I think it's likely. I've got a $3,000 downside. I've got a $6,000 upside. Makes for good streaming. And I think the odds are better than 50% that I succeed on this trade. So with a $6,000 upside, a $3,000 downside, better than 50% to win. this sort of matches all of the risk reward criteria you would want in a trade. The only issue is you might have to really watch as it evaporates, and it would hurt. It would hurt. I mean, my bankroll's only at 16,668 right now. Eating a $3,000 loss would be painful. Painful. I'm not gonna lie. But I could win 6,000 on this, so. And I think it's likely to happen. So I'm gonna stick with this play. I'm gonna ride it. Let's do it. 3,000, that's 20% of my bankroll, which is about the size that you would want for a play like this. There's something called the Kelly criterion. It's a mathematical equation that tells you what the proper risk reward betting amounts are given your bankroll size. And the Kelly criterion for like 50-50 shots where you're getting paid 2-to-1 is about 20%. You want to risk about 20% of your bankroll, which is exactly what I'm doing here. So this trade sort of fits the Kelly criterion. There's a lot of things to like about it. That's all it comes down to. And I might have to watch as NVIDIA ticks lower over the next day or two. I should almost resign myself to that. And it's not going to be fun. But I am playing with house money, you know, a little bit here. I had a nice score on this trade. I was up 3,000 yesterday. I'm up 3,000 today. Bankroll's at 16,700. I mean, this is the time to take a shot. You know, you got to know when to change gears. Right? That's another thing. You got to know when to change gears, when to gear up and when to gear down. This is not a high gear trade. It is a risky trade, but it's a good time to take a chance because I just had a nice trade in this exact position, honestly. It's a good time to try and ride it. You know? Yeah. If I had been getting slaughtered in this trade, like I was last week, you don't want to try and ride a loser, you know? If you're getting rocked, if you're losing, don't continue to try and ride that. But this one I've been winning on now and showing a very healthy profit on. It's a good time to chase after an even bigger profit. Yeah, changing gears is important. If you're any sort of gambling, whether it's betting football games, poker table, horse racing, whatever. Maybe even at the casino, even though you can never win at a casino, but yeah, any sort of gambling like options trading, you have to be able to change gears, all right? Changing gears is just a key part of what any gambler does. You got to know when you're hot, you should gear up and take chances. Like this is kind of an iffy trade, but I'll take that chance because I'm doing well right now. And when to gear down, all right? When things are going bad, when nothing's hitting, when, you know, you go to get lunch and they get your order wrong, or you get a flat tire and just, you know, you're arguing with your significant other and, you know, just shit is not going your way. That's a bad time to take risky plays and chances, you know? If you're losing, if you're emotionally upset, don't take chances. But right now, I mean, I'm up big on this play and I'm feeling good about it. This is the time to gear up and take some additional risks. All right. So yeah. I'm going to hold on to my 5 calls in NVIDIA, see how it goes. I like it. I like my odds of getting to 140 here. I like my odds of getting to 140 before my 2-week expiration on them, August 16th. Might have to eat a downside here. I might have to lose the whole thing, honestly. It's worth $3,000 for the position. I might have to eat it, but I'm going to try and ride it to 140. Let's do it. Let's do it. All right.
Thanks, Dad.
Dennis.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Dennis Nedry. All right, this is Ezekiel Butterthighs.
I'll be back.
Yeah, I'll be back. All right, later.